This will be a tutorial on Statistics 101, an overview of the entire interface. When the program first opens up for the very first time, it'll have this Getting Started with Statistics 101 program in it. This is actually has information in it that you can read about an overview of the program, but it also is a program itself, which will run in just a minute. As you look at this, almost everything in the interface has tooltips. So if you don't know what something is, you can always just hover your mouse over the item and it'll give you a tooltip. Also, a lot of places have pop-up menus. Here's the edit window, here's the output window. They have pop-up menus in them. And there's a toolbar with a lot of buttons that we'll explore in just a little while. There are three main windows in the program. The first one is the editor, which we're looking at here with the program in it. There's a debug window on a tab right next to the editor. The debug window shows the program in full detail, including all include files. And on the left, it shows an alphabetized list of all the subroutines that are in the program. And you can jump to any subroutine just by clicking on any one of those items. Going back to the edit here. And then at the bottom is the output window, which is where text output and graphical output will show. This green triangle button is a button that will start the program running. So I'll click on that and we'll see the output. So here that program produces a lot of graphs, each one in its own tab. Each one will have a pop-up menu for it. And the output, which is this first tab, just shows text output that was called for in the program. So each graph may have its own options on it, as shown here. And each tab has a menu. You can close this tab itself or close the ones to the left, the right, and so on. Or you can detach a tab and see it as a separate item. It'll go back when you click the X. Let's go back to the edit window, take a look there at some of the things. Here's the actual program. This above is comments. The comments are indicated by the apostrophe at the beginning of the line. So we'll go down to the beginning of the program, and these actually are new command, means it's defining a subroutine. We won't go into that here. You can find out more about that in the help. So here's the program. Now, if I'm writing a program, let's say I'm here, and I want to type something new, I can ask, as I type, I'll just pick arbitrarily an S. If I hit Control Space, it'll pop up a list of things that are in the program that begin with S, and I can select one, and it will fill it in. Now this command is listed up above with details on what its parameters are, and a description, a one-line description below it. If you have any questions about it, you double-click on either one of those lines there, and it'll bring up the help for that command. And this is the help for that particular command that I chose. Okay, so I don't want that anyway, but that's just a demonstration of the hinting capability that's built into the editor. Another feature is the pop-up menu. And a lot of the items in here are overlapped with the items in the edit menu. key is these are lists of the different commands and subroutines, and you can find out the help on those that way. So that's a different way of getting help on a particular subroutine or a command. Another helpful feature of the editor is that if you select or click on any word, not selected, it highlights all the instances of that word in the program. So if you're looking for a particular variable name, like this particular one isn't shown anywhere else, but others will identify the places where that same variable with the same spelling appears throughout the program. And in this language, the resampling stats language, there's no difference between upper and lower case. So the same characters in a word, even though some are in upper or lower case, doesn't matter. They'll be matched. Going back to the debug window, here's, as I said before, it expands all the include files. Let me see the include files over here in edit. There's only one, but that one brings in a bunch of others, so we end up with a relatively long program, 1,300 lines. And so you need something like this subroutine index to make your way around it. Another thing about this window is that you can't do any editing in the debug window because it presumes most of the include files are subroutines that are already provided with the program, and they don't need to be changed. Only ones that need to be changed would be in your program that's in the edit file, in the edit window. So that's why you can't edit here. There's a separate tutorial on debugging with this program. So just to get started debugging, I'll click on this debug icon here, and the program will start at the first actual line of the program, highlighted in green, and each time I click this button, it'll proceed to the next one. Now let me show the debug window here. So as we progress through the program, we can see changes in the variable names over here. Whichever ones change become highlighted, so you know what's changed by the previous instruction. But again, there's a whole tutorial on using the debugger, so I won't go into it any further, and I'll just abort out here. And it gives an indication in the output window that the program was aborted. One thing that's helpful is this ability to arrange the windows. Let me put the main window on the left, and there's a bunch of other windows that are used, like the subroutine window the debugging window that we just saw. And these are those. There are actually 6 windows stacked up here in these 2 locations. This is the overall user guide, and this first one up here is an index of all the subroutines and all the commands. The commands are in dark, in the bold print. The subroutines are in normal print. And if there's any subroutines that you wrote yourself, I don't have any here, but those would show up in red. And if you're looking for some function that you need, but you don't know if it's here or or what its name might be, each of these is a one-line description of the command or subroutine. So if you decide, and you can, if you know the category that you're looking for, like Bootstrap. This is all the subroutines that are in this Bootstrap category. You click on one that you're interested in, and its help will show up in this window at the bottom. Or you can search here for something like, let's say, random. So these are all the commands and subroutines that have the word random in their description or even in their name. So you can do searches like that to help you find commands and subroutines that you need. The menu bar has a lot of the standard commands. File has new, open, and then the list of recent files, save, and so on. These will be all familiar with you. The edit menu has standard commands, has a find and replace, and a help similar to the pop-up help that we saw earlier, and the ability to indent the program with either uppercase or lowercase or no change of case. You can hide line numbers. I'll do that here. All the line numbers disappeared, and you can turn them back on. Almost all commands and icons have, commands have shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts that will cause them to execute. So it's good for the ones that you use the most to use those, to learn the shortcuts. If we wanted to clear the output window, we have two ways. We could use the menu, or we can use this button here, and the button tells us how to use it. So if I just click on it, it'll ask me if I really want to do it. I say yes, and it's cleared. If I want to get rid of these, I can do it one by one, as I said before. Or if I want to get rid of all of them, I come up here and hold down Alt and click it, and it'll ask me if I want to do that, and I say yes, and now we're back to a clean screen. The edit menu has a couple of unique features. One is paste from spreadsheet. As the tip says, it'll take rows or columns of a table from a spreadsheet and copy them and then paste them into this program as normal data assignment commands. Also, there's a include, oh, by the way, on that spreadsheet, there's a paste from spreadsheet, there's a separate tutorial on using that. Also, this include lib files. If there's certain library files that you want to include, you click on that. It opens a window into all of the files that have subroutines. And usually what you use that for is math constants, because any command, any subroutine that's in here will automatically be brought in if you use its name in a program. But the math commands won't. I'm sorry, not the math commands, but the math constants. So I'll do that, and now the math constants include file is set up as the first line of the program. Okay, just running through the toolbar here, we have new, which opens a new file, save. This is a syntax check. If I run it on my program to find errors, in this case there's no errors. This will indent lines of the program that are subordinate to a command, like an if command. Or here we have a new command, which is the definition of a subroutine, and it'll automatically indent the contents of the subroutine, like is shown here. And then these two also indent, but this one has a capital A there, which will bring all the command names that are at the first part of a line. It'll capitalize those, and this one will uncapitalize at the same time as it indents. These mark lines, selected lines, as being comments, or it takes the comment marks off. This one moves the paragraph lines to the right by one space or to the left, and this one changes the wrap point of a selected paragraph. So I can select these. I can add comment marks, or if I hold down Shift, I can remove them. I can shift to the right, shift to the left, and I'm not going to do this. Let's see, I'll do it here on a single paragraph. And if I hold down Alt while I do this, it will ignore the comment lines when it changes the wrap point. So it kept the whole thing as a comment without running the comment marks into the paragraph. I'll undo that. For any of those three if you have comments, you can use Alt so that they don't disturb the comment marks. We already talked about this one, which clears the text in the output window or eliminates graphical tabs. This is the run to run the program. This one continues a paused program, that is a program that's paused using the pause command. Rarely use that. This is to abort a program. This starts you in the debug mode, and this will step through the program as you debug it. That's an overview of the main interface of this Statistics 101 program. I hope it helped. Thank you very much for watching.